our Marketing Vice President, and then we have a special guest speaker that's joining us today. She happens to be our own in-house impaired risk specialist, and that's Amanda Marquez, who you're going to hear speak in just a few more minutes here. We really wanted to take some time on today's webinar to focus on impaired risk underwriting. Now, obviously, this term has been around for decades, and there's been companies that have come and gone that were just focused on impaired risk, like U.S. Financial, for example, and they're not around anymore, as we all know. But what's happened is there's hundreds and hundreds of carriers in the world right now, and there's a few carriers that have certain niche underwriting spots that they really focus on, and if you place the right client with the right carrier, you can typically save these clients like 30 to even 60% of premium. Now, obviously what happens in a case like that is you come out looking like a superhero, and typically you can get more business that way and also get referrals that way, as we all know. So it's our job to come in, work with the agent, and show you exactly which client fits with which carrier at the best health class, okay? So you can come in and win over cases compared to your competition. So we just had, and I'll just give you this quick story, and then we'll dive into the presentation. We just had a professional coach, who obviously I can't mention any names, but what happened is they have a financial counselor, advisor, if you will, that works with a life insurance agent, and the life insurance agent sold the coach a policy about 15 years ago with a well-known carrier, and the rate that they received was rated so high, okay, we were able to come in and help the new agent, okay, that's now in the picture, come in and save the client about 15 to 20% of premium. And when we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, okay, you can just imagine what that savings turned out to be. So the point I'm trying to make is this is going to help you uncover a lot of great opportunities, and it can help you market yourself as an impaired risk specialist. Now, of course, you need to know the basics, but the most important thing that you need to know is that you can call Amanda anytime in our office and simply go over the details or the client with Amanda, and she will be able to tell you what carrier is going to fit best. Now, for some of those larger cases, when we're talking, at least $4,000 or $5,000 a premium, we can actually go in, help with the ordering of medical records. Amanda actually is certified to look over all of the records. We have all of the reinsurance handbooks, so she can tell you in a matter of days which company is going to be most favorable for that certain client. So, and let's just put yourself out in the field, and let's say there's a competing agent that's working with the same client, and let's say the person has maybe a basal cell cancer situation, maybe high blood pressure, diabetic, whatever the situation is, and let's say an agent who doesn't use Levinson as a IMO comes back and says, all right, you're going to be a standard table 4 with AIG. Well, Amanda can come in, look at the same client, and shop that case, okay, with all of our impaired risk type carriers, come back and say, actually, we got that same client, the standard non-tobacco, saving about 40 to 70% of premium. Now, A, who do you think is going to get the case? Obviously, it's going to be you, and then you'll be able to uncover other business and gain referrals. So that is what her focus is. She's been doing this for years now as an impaired risk specialist. In fact, we actually grabbed her from another agency who all they focused on was impaired risk business. So I can't stress it enough. Call her anytime with a possible case that you have in mind, or even if you've had a decline that you're scratching your head saying, I know this person shouldn't be a decline because, they work out 5 days a week. They haven't been to the hospital in 10 years. Call Amanda, run the situation past her, and let's get her expert advice on the situation. So it's just another resource for you at your fingertips. We also have some great technology that we put together, so you can literally go online on a Sunday afternoon and find out exactly where that client is going to fit who happens to be 5'10", 300 pounds. So this system will tell you the carrier, health class, and premium instantly. So we have some great stuff we're going to dive into. Joe's going to talk about our upcoming Agent Expo. In fact, you can meet Amanda live there, and she can talk to you there and go over some cases right at our Agent Expo. And Joe will take it from here.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, firstly, I just want to let everybody know that the annual Expo is scheduled for April 24th of this year. It is free for all agents to attend. It's basically a day full of sales ideas, concepts. We look at new trends in the industry to let you know where things are headed, new software platforms, a lot of technology that we provide to the agents at absolutely no cost. So our promise to you is by the end of the day on Friday, April 24th, you'll leave the Expo with some great sales ideas, some free agent platforms, and really ways to help grow your business for the rest of the year. It's going to be a day that you do not want to miss. We've built in a great agent contest for those agents that aren't local. We'll actually, depending on their production level, as you can see in this slide, pay for a free night at the resort. The first level is $15,000 in paid premium. These qualification levels started September 1st. So you have a lot of time. They actually go to the very end of March. So the first level is $15,000 in paid premium. You get one free night at that beautiful beachfront resort here in South Florida. The second level is $40,000 in paid premium. Not only do you get that free night at the resort, you also get round-trip airfare. And the third level is $50,000 in paid premium. You get the same round-trip airfare, but you also get 2 free nights at this beachfront resort. So definitely a day full of sales ideas, sales concepts, that you do not want to miss. Also, briefly here, I want to mention some upcoming training webinars. As usual, we record every single webinar, and it's posted to our YouTube channel that afternoon. Everybody in attendance today will receive the link this afternoon. I just want to mention some upcoming webinars for not only this week, but also next week. Friday the 13th, we actually at 11 a.m. Eastern have a great webinar on the Phoenix annuity portfolio. We're going to be diving into specific annuity products, going over sales ideas, concepts, a lot of great resources through our Levinson Annuity Division. On Tuesday of next week, which is the 17th, at 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going over our exclusive scholarship platform. We're talking about updates with the actual product portfolio through Assurity Life. We have a great product called the University Plus, which is a whole life product that we designed with Assurity that gives clients whole life protection, great cash value, and also up to 1 free year of college tuition at about 340 colleges across the country. That is available to you as a Levinson agent at absolutely no cost. So definitely take a look at that. It's a great marketing platform to get into. And then Thursday the 26th, which is the following week, at 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going over our exclusive co-op mortgage lead program, which actually has a lead reimbursement program built into it. So if you're going to test out a lead program, this is one of the best in the industry. There's no contracts you have to sign. There's no minimum order amount. So you're not tied into ordering week after week. You can test the program out. If you like it, you can move forward and keep using that same system. And the reimbursement program is one of a kind. If you actually write the case that you receive as a lead, we actually pay you back the cost of that lead. So at the end of the day, you're not having to come out of pocket for any of those leads moving forward. That's a great webinar to join. Again, Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to run for about half an hour. We're actually going to have an agent that's been successful with the program on the call to go over, what he does to become successful and what he actually has experienced using that exclusive lead platform.
Okay, thank you, Joe. So this is the agenda for today. We're going to start with some case studies and real agent testimonials, and then we're going to dive into Amanda and the Levinson Impaired Risk Division, and then last, we're going to show you what tools and platforms are available to you at no charge. Okay, I think that's real important. We hear about all these great programs and websites from other competitors of ours, which sound great, but they charge $20, $50, $100 a month, $500 of activation fees. Well, let's face it, we can all go out there and build these great websites, but we don't want to spend thousands of dollars to get all these platforms up and running. As you know, with Levinson, we take care of everything for you. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Also, another example I'll bring up here is most of these impaired risk cases turn out to be thousands of dollars of premium, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So obviously, commissions can really skyrocket. Okay, we're not talking about $30 or $40 a month cases here. So the opportunity for you to make some great additional income to what you're already doing is very high. And you know, we all know that these days with technology moving so fast, you know, we need to have a Facebook page, we need to have a website. What I suggest is take some of these case studies that you're going to learn about in a few minutes and post examples like on your Facebook page. You know, hey, we just got a cigar smoker, you know, preferred tobacco rate, saving the client 50% of the existing premiums. Or we have a client who's using this new e-cigarette, okay, but where everyone else is quoting tobacco rates, we have a carrier that will give you non-smoker rates coming in at half the premium. And foreign nationals, another huge plus. If you know anyone living overseas, we have a international carrier that will write these folks. Okay, it could be friends, family, business ties, whatever the case is. So the point I'm trying to make is don't let these opportunities pass you by. Okay, we all know that there's other agencies that focus, let's just say, on international underwriting or impaired risk, but you could be that specialist or that specialty agency, if you will. Don't let that business pass you by. Okay, it's your client. You might as well make the commissions. Okay, so these are a few testimonials that we got just recently that I wanted to take a minute to go over. I think it's real important. The first one is from an agent of ours, Brad R., who is up north. He's been in the business a very long time, and he took the liberty and wrote this on our Facebook page and emailed this into us. So I thought it was important enough to share with everyone. Our agency has been working with Levinson for 6 years now. There are many choices in this industry. However, there's only one relationship that brings real value to our company, the Levinson Impaired Risk Division. The process of creating an internal file and shopping it has helped us tremendously. There are no declines in all tentative offers that only require a new application. Over the last 5 months, we've sent 3 very impaired risk cases that we really believe would not get any offers. Not only did we get offers, but we placed all 3 for a total commissionable premium of $79,000. We currently have one pending for $150,000 of annual premium. I truly considered Levinson a partner before, and now they have really brought serious value to our agency. Thank you to the Levinson family for bringing on Amanda to run the new Impaired Risk Division. That's huge. And we didn't go out and say, hey, Brad, send us this testimonial. Okay, Brad took it upon himself to write this email to us, okay, to mention Amanda and how she's helped him with these impaired risk cases. That's huge, okay? The bottom statement there. I wanted to take the time to not only say thank you for all of your help in getting my recent case done, but to also let you know how much it means to my client that we together went the extra distance. There were tears of joy the day I delivered her policy to her. You helped make this possible. I am your fan, Jerry G. Again, we did not say to him, hey, send this in. We want to put this on a webinar, okay? And he took it upon himself to share this. So we want our agents to see what's going on out there. It's excellent. In fact, I've been in the business 17 years. Kerry, my father, started the business in 1972. We've never really had a true impaired risk division. So what we're seeing with this whole division, and Amanda, has been awesome. Not only are we helping our agents, but you could see, look what justice this is bringing to our clients who typically couldn't get a policy, okay? So great stuff here. So without further ado, I know I'm talking a lot here. We have Amanda on standby, and she's going to talk about some of these case studies. And I'll just mention before I turn it over to her, You can call anytime. Her extension is 19. Her email is amanda@carrielevinson.com. She's here every day, 9 to 6:30 Eastern Time, just to help you with these cases. Amanda, you there?
Yep. Thanks, Bill, and thank you to everyone who's joining us on today's call. Now, today, I just want to take a few minutes of your time to discuss or let you know the Levinson way of handling impaired risk cases. Now, I can say with a fair amount of certainty that 100% of you on today's call at some point have run into some underwriting surprises over the years. Because let's face it, if all your cases were quoted, approved, and placed at a preferred best rating, then there wouldn't be a reason for you to be joining us today. So before I get into the whole process of how I handle these cases, I just want to share with you a couple of examples of recent successfully placed impaired risk cases. This first one was a formal application that went in before the agent reached out to me, and he received a surprising decline. After looking into the case and compiling the medical records, we found that this insured had been living with only one kidney, and that one kidney wasn't performing the way it should be. Abnormal kidney functions with two kidneys is concerning enough, but being that we were only dealing with one, this was an even bigger deal. So after discussing the case with a couple of carriers and shopping it out informally, we were able to secure a Table C rating. It wasn't the type of rating that the agent and the client had originally hoped for, but after realizing the severity of their medical history, they came to understand that this was, in fact, a fair and solid offer. They ended up placing the case with a lower face amount, but in the end it worked out for everybody. This next case study is similar in regards to how the case was originally submitted. Again, the agent went formal, hoping for the best scenario for his client. Upon completion of the underwriting, we found that the case had been approved at a Table 3 plus a heavy $7.50 flat extra for 2 years. The agent immediately called me and said, Amanda, I can't do anything with this. What can we do? We discussed different scenarios, and he gave me the commitment that he would be able to place a rated case without a flat extra. After he sent me this pathology report, I dissected it with various home office underwriters, and I looked into the home office manuals, and we agreed to shop it out informally. Upon completion of my shop, we were able to secure about 8 different offers, but only one came back without a flat extra. So he was elated, the client was elated, so they were able to successfully place that case.
Yeah, Amanda, let me say one thing, too. You know, you hear about all these impaired risk divisions and, you know, hey, we have our own case manager who specializes just in this field. But as you can see, a lot of times it's just a matter of the person taking the extra steps, someone that's trained with impaired risk that knows the loopholes or the niches with certain companies that can turn, say, a case with a $7.50 flat extra to a placeable 0 flat extra. So, you know, what we're trying to explain here is her job is just this. We're not one of these agencies that's saying, hey, call our impaired risk department today, where we're just going to take a case manager and call her an impaired risk specialist. Okay, so I think that's a huge plus for Levinson and Amanda. So without further ado here, I'll let her continue. Sorry about that, Amanda.
No, Bill, you're exactly correct. Most of our competition will say that they're shopping your cases out informally. What they're, in fact, doing most of the time is simply summarizing these cases and submitting it out to a couple of carriers and getting a range of what these type of scenarios generally fall in. We like to take the problem and work it backwards. This slide is going to show you the exact process that I use to secure these placeable offers. Now, the first step for you as the agent is to submit to me a signed and completed trial application. This application, as you'll see in the coming slides, is a very concise form. 2 pages is all that we ask. This will allow me to compile the full medical file from the insured's various doctors and actually build the whole case that an underwriter at a home office would. As these records start coming in, I will personally review each and every one of them to see what else we may need. Was there a referral to a cardiologist? Was there a test that was recommended. Maybe it wasn't completed. I put on the eyes of an underwriter to get the most clear-cut case and paint the prettiest picture. Once I feel that we have the full medical file, I will then discuss my findings with you, and you and I will then agree to shop the case. By shopping the case, that means I will send the full medical file, sometimes 400 or 500 pages of medical records, up to these home offices for underwriter review. Once these files are set up and the underwriters start beginning to review them, I will reach out to the underwriter and discuss what they think this case will eventually end up being. And it usually takes about 7 to 10 business days for them to get all these offers to me. And as they start coming in, I will evaluate the offers and start pricing them out. I will send you the various illustrations, and you and I will discuss the further steps. If an offer is in fact acceptable to you, my goal is to turn over an offer that the only thing that you need to get me is a signed formal application. The formal application will then go through the normal channels and hopefully be issued within a matter of days, and you can successfully place that case. Now, to get started with this process, we've built an impaired risk division onto our existing website. As you'll see from the underwriting tab, there's the impaired risk division. On here, you're going to find a few things that are going to be a wealth of information to you. The first one being the signed trial app. Now, I've looked at our competitors' trial applications, and most of these range somewhere between 5 to 10 pages, which is often just as long as a full formal application. Now, to not waste anybody's time, we reevaluated our trial application and slimmed it down to only 2 pages. Additionally, you will find on this portion of the website impairment-specific questionnaires. It's a whole library of different ailments that we see most commonly come in as impaired risk cases. So if you have somebody who had a history of prostate cancer, you will go onto this section, pull that form, and this is not only going to help me gather as much information up front, it's going to help you becoming a better field underwriter. These questions on these questionnaires are the questions that I will be asking you, and they are the same questions a home office underwriter will be asking me. Now, also on this website, there's another way that you can get in contact with me. As Bill said, I'm available every day at extension 19 or via email. And under the Impaired Risk Division website, you will see where we built in a fillable form. On this form, you can summarize, give me all the specifics of the case that you have, and these come in directly to my inbox for my evaluation. And after I evaluate them, I will then reach out to you and discuss the next steps of the process.
Very good. Thank you, Amanda. And also one key note that I'm also going to add is what really makes this division priceless are the relationships, okay, with the head underwriters at these impaired risk carriers that she has built along with Carrie, my father. So, you know, that's kind of like a gray area because, you know, it's not black and white. So in other words, if and I hate to say this, but if the underwriter trusts you, okay, and loves working with you, okay, and you always want to have that open and honest relationship, but they typically will make a business decision and give you an approval, or let's say a one bump up with a health class where they wouldn't give it to somebody else. So again, once again, and I know I keep stressing this, the relationship is priceless. And what Carrie and Amanda has built is you cannot find anywhere else. And I mean that. And I think once you try us out in that impaired risk division, or you have already submitted a case, you will see that exactly what we're talking about is true. Okay, so great job, Amanda. We appreciate that. Now we're going to jump in and again show you some examples. And I encourage you to use these examples with your client. Either email blast them out, post on your Facebook page, use them on your home page of your websites. But again, it's just going to help you separate yourself from the competition. Okay, Joe, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So what we're going to review now are, obviously we've had a lot of cases come in that we consider impaired risk, and, we've recognized certain cases and certain case examples that we think are worth mentioning for no other reason than to just give you a good idea of which carriers are able to have a specific niche when it comes to different underwriting, concepts or different underwriting niches. So the first one I'm going to talk about is height and weight issues. This comes up often. Probably our most favorable carrier for height and weight issues is going to be Prudential. You'll see from this example, we had a case just a few months ago, male age 45, height was 5'10", weight 313. Most carriers gave this client a Table 3, a Table 4 rating. Prudential actually came in at standard non-smoker. So there's a lot of leeway with their height and weight charts, which make them one of the best carriers for those type of scenarios. Also, we're seeing a lot of weight reduction surgeries. Prudential gave us a preferred non-smoker on a recent case. You'll see Genworth also with 2 years, no complications, will give us a Table 3. So, this underwriting landscape is always changing, and we're always at the forefront of making sure we know exactly which carrier is going to be the best one at the end of the day. Also, sleep apnea, we see this especially paired with the height and weight issues. Based on the type of treatment, whether they're compliant with the CPAP machine, we've been able to see mild sleep apnea cases, treated or untreated, get a preferred best rating with John Hancock. Mutual of Omaha also is giving us standard rates. So that sleep apnea scenario comes up very often, and to be able to have these carriers as an immediate go-to is something that is great, especially when you're looking at most carriers giving you a rating or even 2 or 3 times what would be the normal standard premium. Also, cancer history. One of the top carriers here, actually our case example that we used in one of the first slides that talked about the client who had a history of breast cancer. That was a very recent case where initially the client was given a flat extra. We went back, looked at all the underwriting material. Amanda was able to dissect it, get some further reports, and John Hancock was able to issue standard non-tobacco for that client who was 40 years or older for localized breast cancer. Transamerica is giving us standard offers, even protective with prostate cancer. If we have a couple of years since the treatment date, we can even get a standard non-tobacco rate. So a lot of great niches there. Another huge topic that comes up more and more is underwriting tobacco usage, not just cigarette usage, but cigars, pipes, smokeless tobacco. One of our go-to carriers is Lincoln. We can get a preferred non-tobacco, even if that client admits use of a cigar, pipe, chew, dip, whatever it might be. Prudential is also a great carrier for that similar scenario. The client can actually test positive in the urine for nicotine and still receive a non-smoker plus rate. I do want to mention one quick thing. E-cigarettes are becoming more and more popular over the last couple of years. A lot of people using those e-cigarettes. Prudential is one of the only carriers that will actually issue a non-smoker plus rate class. So we've had huge success in highlighting those different areas. We even have an agent that used to be a smoker that quit, is now using e-cigarettes, and he wrote an actual article on his social media page about smokeless tobacco, about e-cigarettes, and how all these clients can take advantage of that underwriting niche and actually get a non-smoker rate, even though they're currently using those e-cigarettes. So just a couple ideas or concepts. If you've had cases in the past, or maybe the rating was a little bit worse than you thought, give us a call here, speak to Amanda. She'll find the right fit for that client. Even if it's been several years, we can usually do something and save that client money on that insurance premium.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Great job. So top impaired risk carriers. Now, we have just under 100 companies now, okay, with life, annuity, long-term care. So, I mean, each company kind of has their own special niche that Amanda can kind of sort out for you and do all the legwork. But these are a handful of probably the top impaired risk companies that are pretty liberal for the most part. So the first one is Lincoln. What we love about Lincoln is they have a table-shaped program, which these days is very rare and uncommon. So what they will do is if you have a case that is rated up to 3 tables, okay, bring it to Lincoln, okay, and Amanda can shop it for you, and you will get a very placeable standard non-tobacco or tobacco rate. So let's say American National came in at table 3. The premium is $170 a month. Bring that case to Lincoln, and you literally can save about 50% of premium there. So huge savings, and once again, you look like the superstar. And this is for all clients up to age 70 on permanent insurance. Prudential, another huge plus. We're one of their top IMO shops right now, so we send a lot of stuff their way. just a few niches for them is they will give standard plus non-tobacco rate for cigar usage, nicotine patches, Nicorette gum. That's another big advantage. Also with pilots, okay, they are the go-to company. Height and weight challenges, Prudential is the place to go, and obviously they have a great name. Prudential, the Rock, I think everybody knows about. Mutual of Omaha actually has a table credit program for term coverage. And then, real important in California, occasional marijuana users get standard non-tobacco. Once again, you're going to come out at half the premium versus other carriers at tobacco rates. So another big plus there. This is probably the biggest plus in the underwriting niche department. John Hancock, A-plus rated company. They have a quit smoking incentive. So let's just say you're competing with another agent out there. You're both working on the same client. The client smokes cigarettes, 25 a day. The other agent is quoting standard tobacco. You come in at standard non-tobacco, again at half the premium. And you say, well, how do they do that? Okay. They have a quit smoking incentive rider that gives that client non-tobacco rates for 3 years. At the end of 3 years, okay, they're going to have to submit a urine sample or specimen, and it's going to have to show that they did quit to keep that non-smoker rate. Now, if they did not quit, the rate goes to tobacco, and then moving forward, they pay tobacco rates. But how many times do we run across cigarette smokers who say, oh, yeah, I'm just about to quit next New Year's Eve. That's my last cigarette. Great. We have a quit smoking incentive program. So, again, that can help you win over a huge case. Okay, straight guaranteed issue. Now, they will take anybody, okay? So just know you will never run across a client that you do not have a policy for. So we have the best carriers out there. You can stack these if you want or sell them individually. National Guaranteed Life is the top carrier. Issue age is all the way to 99. Okay, now they have excellent guaranteed issue with voice signature okay. So what that means is you don't have to see the client in person, which is a huge plus in this market. Gerber Life, great name, up to $25,000, no medical questions, straight guaranteed issue, probably the most competitive rates that we have for guaranteed issue. Next is Kemper, again up to $25,000. Now, Kemper is very competitive, okay, not quite as competitive as Gerber, but close, okay, but the plus is they advance commissions as long as you qualify. That's unheard of for guaranteed issue. United Home Life at the bottom, up to $10,000, straight guaranteed issue. So they make it very, very simple. You need to know in the back of your mind you will never run across a client that you don't have a policy for with Levinson. So very important stuff there. Joe is going to show you our online underwriting platform that is free to all agents that you can access on a Sunday afternoon when we're closed. Joe?
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, what I'm showing here in this next screenshot is actually what's called the Xray tool. Now, there's two different versions of Xray. I'm going to go into the Xray Lite version first, and then we'll get into the more in-depth full version of Xray in a couple slides. So if this page looks familiar to you, it's because you've used our quote engine in the past. So if you go to CarrieLevinson.com, you hover over the quotes tab, and you click on Term Quote Engine, this is what you're going to see. And obviously, if you think your client is a preferred or preferred best, you can quote those rates for term and universal life right from this quote engine. But if you're unsure, whether it be a height and weight issue, whether it's a blood pressure, cholesterol issue, whatever the scenario might be, you have the ability to actually create your client's health profile before you run the quote. So I've kind of blown up that there. If you look, you'll see that blue link. You can click on Edit Your Client's Health Profile, and what will happen is a pop-up will show up on your screen where you can put in the client's date of birth, you can put in their height and weight, tobacco usage, family history, blood pressure, cholesterol, even driving violations. If you have someone that had a license suspended, revoked, maybe had some speeding tickets, you can enter in all this basic information. The next step is pretty neat. Once you enter in the information, you're going to click on the I'm finished, return to the quote button. What it will do is it will take all that underwriting information you've just entered into the system, and it will instantly run it through all the underwriting criteria with each of the carriers that have a product for that client at their age, that death benefit amount, and that's eligible for that state. So what you'll see is a listing of different carriers, the actual rate class that that carrier is going to approve that client, and then you'll see the premium rates on the next page. So we can actually pre-screen the client. My recommendation is to use this for height and weight issues, again, blood pressure, cholesterol, basic information. So you'll be able to see all that information in real time. Just a neat little tool to help you simplify that field underwriting process, not have any surprises down the road where your client might be given a standard or a rating when you thought you were going to actually be able to get them a preferred class. So that is a great tool. It'll save you a lot of time. Again, on the home page underneath quotes, you click on Term Quote Engine. That's the Xray Lite version. We also have a more in-depth version of Xray, which is called the Xray Full version. You'll see here I've got a screenshot of the home page. Underneath that Underwriting tab, you can click on Xray. The Carrie Levinson website actually has single sign-on feature built in, which means you don't have to remember all these different usernames and passwords. Once you log into our website, you're logged into everything. So you're going to click on that Xray button. It's going to automatically take you right into that Xray system. Now you'll notice there's a lot more information we can put in about this client. One thing I love about Xray is you can keep it very, very simple. If you only have basic information about your client, you're just going to put in as much as you have. You don't have to go through, get every little piece of information. If there's only one issue that's going to prohibit them from a specific underwriting class, you just put in as much information as you have. So in this scenario, I've created a client profile. I've put in this client's height and weight. Then I can choose for multiple medical issues. So for example, if my client is a diabetic, they have hepatitis, I can pick different categories. And what's really neat about this system is it has built-in underwriting rules. So for example, if I were to check, in this example, my client was a diabetic, they're a type 2 diabetic, what's going to automatically happen is this underwriting system, this software, is going to prompt me to give certain answers to questions that the underwriting guidelines are going to want to know. So date of diagnosis, the last A1C level, has there been complications, how many insulin units are they taking? All these are questions that the underwriter is going to want to know. But what's so neat about Xray is you don't have to wait for the underwriter to get back to you. Because there's different business rules built into this software platform, you can literally answer as much information as you have on the go, put in all the details, and then actually search the pricing of every different carrier. So in this example, I put in all the client's information. I can answer as much or as little information as I have. It will then instantly run all those answers against the underwriting criteria and business rules and tell me what that carrier is going to rate that client. I can then search the pricing, see everything available for this client, and really give them several different options, share this actual progress with the client, let them know that we have a great tool that other agents cannot provide, and we're actually informally shopping the marketplace with the basic information that we have. So this is going to save you hours of underwriting time, and it's also going to help increase not only your placement rate, but your persistency rate, because you're going to be able to let that client know what they can realistically qualify for from day one, not have to come back with a policy in a couple weeks that's 50% higher than the original quote. So you're going to be able to show the client all the options from day one with this simple, easy platform, which really, at the end of the day, saves you hours and hours of underwriting time.
Okay, thank you, Joe. We have just 2 slides left, but they're very important and worth staying on. Just a couple more minutes. So we built a consumer underwriting tool. Now, these are built into everybody's free website, or if you have your own website, we can add this. So, of course, let us know, and we can set up this function. But this is neat because what happens is when your client runs a quote on your Facebook page or your website, and where the health class comes in and it says preferred or standard, well, everybody, of course, clicks preferred best. Meanwhile, they're 5'4", 290 pounds, and they have an insulin needle in their arm. So we all know you can't get preferred best. So this health analyzer gives them and allows them to put in as little or as much information that they want to share, and then the system tells them exactly what health class they fall into, so then they can run the quote. So, of course, this is free of charge. If you want us to get you set up, just let us know, and we would be more than happy to. Our last slide here of the day is the foreign resident section of our website. If you just hover on the top right, it says Underwriting, and then it'll say Foreign Nationals. If you click there, all of the material, and we have libraries that are all built in. Everything you need to know about foreign national life insurance is going to be at your fingertips. So we have some excellent carriers, and of course this falls under Amanda's hat, if you will. So you can call her with any questions, but we have some real important niches. Let's say families that have U.S. ties here that are not from this country and they're not residents. We have a great alternative for them. Even if you have, I mentioned this in the beginning of the webinar, family or friends that live in another country with no U.S. ties here, okay, you can go and write them very competitive term and permanent insurance policies and get paid full commissions, even though they're not here in this country. So again, some great niches that can help you stand out versus your competition. Okay, so this is our last slide here. I just want to thank everybody for joining us today, and I really can't say it enough and can't encourage you enough to pick up the phone, get to know Amanda. She's a great resource that's going to help differentiate yourself and your business in 2015. Keep in the back of your mind, the industry is always about changing, and that's exactly what we all need to do to keep moving